you're playing like solo offline, do you have like little access to like admin commands since you're the only one there? I'm mostly just asking for like sake of screenshots, like if you want to go and spectate, get a good screenshot.
Yeah, so the way single player is going to work is you're going to be able to play in an offline mode, and it's basically the exact same thing as multiplayer, except that there's no unlockables. You already have everything unlocked, so you can play whatever dragon you want to, including the Kickstarter dragons. And for those of you that, before anybody panics, I already said that back in the Kickstarter, single player would have all the unlockables, everything.
But would you not be afraid of like more people playing the single player than the multiplayer? I mean, like,
no, who wants to play by? I mean, well, some people want to play by themselves, but the real fun for me is playing with other people.
I suppose.
Agreed.
I mean, if you play, single player, you're the only dragon in the whole world other than.
I think it's just for the fact that like some people would just wanna, like, I think it would also be it'd be good for people to get a hang of each dragon and stuff and all there and see what their strengths and weaknesses are and stuff
And
before
then
they
showcase
It's
the
probably
newer
what
ones.
single player will be mostly used for,
Before
is
they
just
hop-
for people to be
before they hop
testing
in.
out. Yeah,
Yeah,
before they hop in, be like, oh, I want to test out this dragon before I go and try and unlock it on this server or something
Yeah.
like that, if they're not like a
Or buy it,
Kickstarter backer or whatever. Or like,
So
I
what-
want to test like
So are the
a healer out before I'd be nested in as it by one of my mates or something like that.
True. So are the NPCs like what? Are the NPCs going to be in single player, or what's the deal with them? Are they going to be in multiplayer, or?
Yeah, there'll be NPCs in single player.
Oh.
Single player is probably not going to be out in Genesis 1.0 though.
Scary blade, teeth blade.
I know it really want crap.
JAO, have you confirmed if the DLC dragons will be available for people in single player without having to buy them?
No, the only dragons that will be available in single player are the Kickstarter stretch goals, the 5 stretch dragons. But if people don't have the bio, they won't be able to play the bio in single player, and they won't be able to play the DLC dragons in single player unless they own those.
It basically depends on if you have the things unlocked overall, instead of having the way you say it, you have every dragon unlocked in single player. That doesn't include the Kickstarter dragons if you weren't a Kickstarter backer, or does it?
Back in the Kickstarter, I already said that single player will allow people to play as the stretch goal dragons without having to unlock them. So if you play single player, you can play as the stretch goal dragons. You just can't play as the bio unless you own it, and you can't play as the DLCs unless you own those. So, but the stretch goal rewards will be automatically unlocked for you in single player, but not in multiplayer if you're not a Kickstarter.
So, a question on the topic of single player. There will be Pookie, there will be elementals, and of course NPC creatures for food sources. But is there plans to expand the PvE aspects of the game so that there's more than just the dragon multiplayer aspect?
Maybe in the future, maybe there'll be like a single player expansion. But my main focus is multiplayer. Single player was never promised to be more than just multiplayer by yourself.
So the question isn't geared towards the single player mode. It's more geared towards PvE interactions in a multiplayer setting. I.e., will there be stuff to do other than just the social aspects? Will there be creatures to go and hunt down?
Single player?
Agents to raid, stuff like that.
It's not about multiplayer PvE still.
Yeah, in single player, you'll be able to. There's AI in single player, so you can hunt. But you're by yourself, so there's no other players. So you will never be able to kill Pookie in single player.
Understandable, but the question's geared towards multiplayer PvE.
Is there going to be AI in multiplayer? Definitely, yeah.
I wonder if you'll be able to play as Pookie in multiplayer the way you
No,
were able to.
Nobody's going to be able to play as Pookie.
Oh, but that would have been so awesome just playing as the big massive sandworm.
Except probably JAO.
He's the most overpowered creature in the whole world, so there's nobody that's going to be allowed to be able to play as Pookie. So, and I can't even allow him to be playable by developers because then somebody's going to hack, and then you'll have people playing as a hacked Pookie. So
basically, he's just gonna be property of you. Like you're probably not even gonna be able to play as him.
really big nasty boss in the game that is going to be like huge raids. You're going to need. There's going to be. It's almost going to be a whole server effort to take down Pookie. And
is there going to be multiple? Is there going to be like multiple sandworms? Like
yeah, well, there's going to be multiple Sand Slayer worms in the world.
Yeah, like a Tremors kind of thing.
There's only one queen, so you might be able to take the smaller Sand Slayer worms with not the whole server, but it would take a very large group to take down the queen Sand Slayer worm.
In regards to Pookie, how is the model development going with Pookie?
We're not working on AI right now. We're working on the player dragons.
Okay.
But the Sand Slayer worm is going to be the first custom AI that we do, and she's slated for the next major feature update, which should be like 1.1, and that would also include the first 3 Kickstarter dragons, the Ice Wyvern, and the Blitz Striker. So there's 6 more coming in 1.1. We might not put them all out in 1.1 patch. We might put them out incrementally. Here's one, here's another one after that. But those are the next 6 creatures that will be coming after Genesis. Will be the Healer, the Hybrid, the Nurse, the Sand Slayer worm, the Blitz, and the Ice Wyvern.
I am all for incremental updates. Like when Dragon gets finished, throw it into the game and let us play it.
Yeah, we will definitely. As soon as something is done, we will be putting it in the game. It would definitely be I can't wait to see. I can't wait to get rid of those leeches, those AI leeches. I hate those leeches. They're so like. I'm not gonna say they're tough to kill, but they're annoying. Like really annoying.
I'd sooner associate their wonky AI and hitboxes to why they're so annoying, more so than just what they are. Because I even have trouble biting them. I'm like, did I hit it? I can't tell.
Did I hit it? Is it taking damage? What is going on here?
I know, right?
So in a kind of a social media publicity standpoint, at what point do you expect to officially say that the game will be out of early access?
The game will be out of early access as soon as all the base mechanics, features, and content are in that I have planned for like the release version of the game, like the full release, no longer early access.
So that'll be probably expected.
That all the Kickstarter stuff, like
the Kickstarter stuff is finished.
Right? Oh yeah, we would definitely not leave early access until the Kickstarter stuff's in the game. We have all 3 elementals in the game. We have the free dragon content updates in the game. So
it's definitely long in the future.
It's probably going to be a couple of years, yeah. But
yeah.
It's definitely not going to be 2021, that's for sure. We're going to, as soon as the game is like 1.0 is like we're done with 1.0, then we'll leave early access. But there's going to be a lot of updates post Genesis. You know, there'll be a 1.1, a 1.2, and a 1.3, and a 1.4, and we have a roadmap of different content features that we are going to be adding post Genesis. But it will early. You know, when 1.0 comes out, you players will finally have in your hands the post Kickstarter funded version of Day of Dragons. People can make fun of the alpha all they want to, but that was built by me, by myself, with absolutely no funding except for out of pocket. And you know, I did that alone, and that was before Kickstarter. And this is going to be the post Kickstarter version of Day of Dragons that so they can make fun of the alpha all they want to. I'd like to see them make their own game by themselves with no funding, see how far they get. But Day of Dragons Genesis is going to be the post Kickstarter funded version, and it's going to be awesome.
So we can look forward to 2.0 being the public release of an official game. That's good to hear.
I don't know if it's going to be called 2.0, but it will be after we get all of the content in that we had promised. So.
If a dragon is big enough, could it hold like 2 babies in its mouth? So maybe like an alpha could hold 2 or 3 around there.
It has more to do with species than it does with size. The nurse can hold up to 4 babies in its mouth.
Just as a reference, because it is one of the Kickstarter goals and stretch goals, is the behemoth. How big comparably would that be to, let's say, the elemental?
The elemental is a class 7, and the behemoth is a class 8.
Is that elemental that we see right there a class 7?
Yep.
That's a class 7?
It's kind of tiny, actually.
Yeah,
for a class 7.
It does
Yeah.
look kind of tiny.
That's
Well,
what
if you think
I was.
about it in terms of like game limitations as well, you can only be so big before you start weirdly clipping through all the trees, and suddenly it's not cool.
Yeah, but take a look at Beast of Bermuda. That thing has an unlimited growth system, and you can get as big as you want.
Yeah, but it's also unrealistically large.